closer in time.
Previously on Closer in Time, Lidwina's Fall, an early woodcut depiction of ice skating featuring Lidwina, future saint. Johannes Brahms composes second string quintet opus 111. The modern game of ice hockey, from its early days to the electrifying fleet-bladed game as we know it today. And now, the Ice Wars. Evidently, hockey fights are not the only combat that takes place over mechanically frozen water. While chemical and evaporative means of cooling have been known for centuries, it wasn't until Floridian medical doctor John Gorrie that something kin to a modern-day freezer took shape. Making use of the endothermic property of decompressing gas, Dr. Gorrie used his mechanical ice-making invention to cool sufferers of yellow fever during an outbreak in the Florida Panhandle. A few hundred miles to the north, one Frederick Tudor, known as the Boston Ice King, yep, that's what people called him, had built an empire in ice sails. Natural ice. Tudor would harvest local winter ice, often from lakes enjoyed by ice skating revelers, pack it up on boats, and ship to distant iceless climes. At first the Caribbean, then as far as India. As bizarre as it may seem, plain old sawdust serves as a pretty effective insulator. Since the ice itself was free, and sawdust was essentially free, being a byproduct of the timber industry, even though much of the ice would melt during the long maritime hauls, the value of what remained to sun-drenched tropical customers was enough for what became substantial profits. Threatened by Gorrie's invention and with substantial means, Tudor undertook a ruthless campaign to undermine the Floridian. Appealing to public suspicion of new technology and fear of the unnatural, Tudor laid waste to not only Gorrie's ingenious invention, but also his public reputation. Fortunately, history righted itself, and nowadays Dr. Gorrie's invention and humanitarian spirit are celebrated by plinth, statue, marker, monument, and museum. The first known iron-bladed ice skates. The earliest example of something reminiscent to a modern ice skate was found in the Netherlands. This archaeological find featured a thin wood platform with a flat iron strip as its blade fastened beneath. Carta Marina. Several decades after Brugmann's publication showing Lidwina's Fall, Olaus Magnus, while posted up in Rome, created a detailed map of Scandinavia known as Carta Marina. Not uncommon to cartography, Magnus is believed to have amalgamated earlier sources. This may explain a potential anachronism. The ice skaters here are steering themselves with a pole, a practice necessitated with bone-bladed skates, despite the fact that at the time of the creation of Magnus's map, metal blades, renowned for their maneuverability, were common. The NHL 2023-24 season is closer in time to the ice wars and the early days of mechanical refrigeration than mechanical refrigeration is to Olaus Magnus's Carta Marina by roughly 125 years. Early archaeological evidence of ice skating. In heavily settled regions with many lakes, boats provide a vital means of transportation. They are efficient, gliding atop the water. In regions with harsh winters, though, lakes would freeze over. Adaptability has been a hallmark of the human species for a very long time, and while one could walk across lake ice, at some point someone figured out that by fastening a hard object with a relatively small contact surface to the underside of their shoe, they could in some sense emulate the glide of a boat. Archaeological evidence shows the preferred blade was a bone, an animal femur, for example. Fresh bone is permeated with fats, which offer minimal friction with the ice. These skates did not offer the maneuverability of modern skates, so travelers would propel and steer themselves with a pole. Archaeologists in Northern Europe and even recently in Northwest China have recovered numerous examples dating from the Bronze Age. Similarities between the remains from Europe and China have invigorated speculation of early trade between the two regions. Experts believe the history of ice skating predates even these Bronze Age relics by many centuries. The NHL 2023-24 season is closer in time to the earliest known iron-bladed ice skates than these skates are to early Bronze Age ice skates by over 2,000 years. Humans have been adapting to their environment since time immemorial. Or how about adaptation is the enduring hallmark of the human species?
I fooled you, didn't I? Yeah. Oh!
Human species.